Hey, what's up, guys? So today we're going to do some really basic data analysis in ChatGPT, and this video is intended for anyone who maybe is new to ChatGPT and wants to learn a little bit more about some different ways you can use it to create data sets and then analyze that data. And it'll be rather basic, but even if you have been exposed to ChatGPT before and you've used it to do anything at all, maybe you'll gain one or two pieces of information out of this video. So yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and share the screen and we can get started with an example. I don't have a data set right now that I want to work with, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use ChatGPT to create one for me. And I just have like a example prompt here that I'm going to use to have this scenario and then create data off of it. So what I've done is I said a 6 foot tall 30-year-old male that currently weighs 200 pounds wants to lose 10 pounds, and I've asked it to provide me with a daily recommended calorie intake and an acceptable plus minus range, and to provide me the range in both calories and percentage. And I've also asked it to use Python for these calculations. And the reason I did that is because if you don't specify to use Python, sometimes the model will struggle to do math, and Python is your best bet if you want accurate math calculations. Granted, in this case, it doesn't really matter because I'm just making a fake data set, but nonetheless. So you can see here, it's taken my prompt and it's created a lower and upper calorie range. So it's saying that this person should consume between 2486 and 2748 calories per day to meet their weight loss goal. Cool. All right. So with that, I can then give it another prompt and ask it to create some data for me. So here, this next prompt, I'm saying, create me a 30-day data set for June 2024 that contains the date in the following format, so month, day, year. I want the actual recommended daily calorie intake and the actual calorie intake for each day. And I want to ensure that some days maybe they're close to following and other days fell outside of the range. And I also asked it to include one cheat day per week and mark it as such in the data set. And then I asked for the output in Excel. So you can see it's gone through and now it's created a data set for me. So let's go ahead and expand this and take a look. So this data set, pretty simple. We have the day of month, the recommended daily calorie intake, which is constant. And then it's made up some actual calorie intakes for each day and marked one day per week as a cheat day. Awesome. Okay, so we have some data now that we can start working with, and you can, if you're new to ChatGPT or new to data analysis and you don't know what you want from here, you can always ask ChatGPT to, provide guidance or just analyze the data. You can say, create some visualizations for me, whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to give it some specific guidance on a certain chart that I want. So here's the prompt. I've said plot a chart of recommended versus actual calorie intake for the full month of June. I want single dots for each day of the month. I asked it to plot a dash line for the recommended calorie intake and a dash line for plus minus 10%. Actually, I probably should have specified 5% because I think that's what it set up here. Yeah, the acceptable range is plus minus 5%. So we can correct that. But anyways, just going back to the prompt, plot a green circle icon with a white check mark inside for each day where the actual calorie intake was within the recommended range, and a red circle when it was outside of the recommended range. And then I asked it to use a gray circle for the cheat days. All right, so it's taken that requirement and it's plotted a chart for me. Let's go ahead and expand it and take a look. So yeah, it hasn't gotten all of the icons exactly right, but just as a basic visualization here, you can see it's plotted plus minus 10%, and and it's marked the days that fell outside of the range as a red X. It's marked the days that were cheat days as appears to be a gray X, and then we've also added green check marks for all the days that fall within the range. Now let's just correct it also. Let's change the range. Oops. Let's change the range to plus minus 5%, because that's what the acceptable range was. And then let's also make the area in between the upper and lower bounds shaded gray. So let's shade the area between upper and lower bounds gray. Cool. So it's going to go ahead and reprocess this. And what's nice is that you can just stay on this screen with the chart expanded in full screen, and once it's done, it'll refresh the chart for you, so you don't even have to leave this view. So go ahead and let it run. All right, and now it's shaded that area gray. It's also marked the, or changed the range to plus minus 5%. Okay, so that looks much better. Now, let's just say we want this centered on the, we want the y-axis centered on the recommended value, right? So let's center the y-axis on the recommended daily intake value. And let's plot every single day of the month on the y-axis, or I'm sorry, on the x-axis. Let's plot every day of the month on the x-axis. I guess I'll specify that I'm looking for the label. All right, let's see how it handles that requirement. I'm just going to hit pause here while it runs, and I'll resume it when it's done. Okay, so it finished running, and you can see now it's gone ahead and centered the y-axis like we asked it to, and it's also included each day of the month, right? So, and then we have a nice grid here so we can follow the grid up and see what the actual value is for each day of the month. You can ask it anything you want, so I can tell it to use different icons, different / better icons. It's kind of arbitrary, but we'll see what it does. Let's also include data labels that are clear and easy to read. All right, I'll hit pause and come back when it's done. Okay, so it finished running, and you can see now it's it's used different icons. So now we have green circles, gray circles, and red circles, along with data labels for each day. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, this is obviously just an example. You can go through and keep asking it to make updates and get this to look exactly how you might want it. And let's just say you're working on a project and you've gone through all these different steps, right, to get a chart or visualization looking exactly how you want it. Rather than have to go through those steps again to recreate it, if you wanted to do this at a later time, what I would recommend doing is copy that Python code where it gave you the chart and either save it somewhere or ask ChatGPT to create you a file with that Python code, and you could just repaste it in on a different chat at a different day and recreate charts really easily that way. You can also obviously do all sorts of things where you create programs to actually reproduce stuff. You can create custom GPTs and all sorts of other things, but just if you spend a lot of time working to get something a certain way, that's just a helpful tip to capture that Python code and save it somewhere so that you don't have to go through those steps and recreate it again at a later time. Okay, next let's go ahead and ask to please calculate the average calorie intake by day of week and plot a visualization for this. Let's say I'm curious, which days of the week I consume the most calories. I would assume it's probably on those cheat days, but maybe not. Let's see. All right, so it's showing Saturdays. I consumed 3,307 calories on average each day of the week. Um, if I go back, actually no, let's just go ahead and ask it. Um, what day of the week was the cheat day? Saturday. Okay, so it's telling me Saturdays were in fact the cheat day. That's why I was consuming more calories on that day. Great. So you can see this chart is actually interactive. So some charts in ChatGPT are interactive, whereas others don't yet support interactivity. But if you ever, um, if you're ever looking at an interactive chart, you can come up here and click this to switch to a static view. And there you go. You have a nice static view. And you can do the same process of going through and asking it to change colors or labels or run more analysis, whatever you might want to do. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, can you create me an interactive dashboard in HTML that I can see these charts and interact with them? I have no idea if this will work, but just kind of throwing it out there and seeing what it does, right? So it's saying you'll need to install the following libraries, then you can use the following Python code to create the dashboard. Okay, so let's just say I want to try this out, right? What we can do is we can take this code and we can run it in a website called Replit. So let's get that loaded up and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so here I'm over on Replit. You can sign up for a free account very easily. Once you're here, you can hit create REPL. I'm going to use Python because that's what my code is in. You can title it whatever you want. I'll just leave it as default for now. I'll hit create. And this will load up. Great. Now, I'm going to come here. I'm going to copy the Python code that it's given me. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload the Excel file, or actually it's a CSV file. I had downloaded it directly from ChatGPT, right? So now this is in my project, and all I need to do is copy the file path and replace it here. Actually, it looks like it's already correct, but just for, yeah, okay, it already matches. But if your file happened to be a different name, this is where you would replace it. And let's see what happens when I hit run. Let's see if it works. So right now it's just installing the relevant dependencies. And let's see. Writing the log file. Okay, great. It looks like it's loading and it's about to come up. That's excellent. If you click new tab, it'll open this in a new tab. All right. Here it is. So this is its first attempt at an interactive dashboard. Maybe not the nicest thing, but you can hover over and see these appear to be the cheat days where I consumed a lot of calories, right? But I can hover over and see any other day of the month, how many calories I consumed. That's cool. Let's see. You can zoom, pan, you can auto scale. All right. Then here we have the average calorie intake by day of week. That's nice. Interactive, cool. Then down here, it looks like I can filter by day, right? So Sunday, here's Monday, and it's plotting the different data points. So if we go back to Saturday, these were, go back to Saturday. These are my cheat days. Okay, these days all fell outside of the range. So anyways, I mean, this is basic, kind of boring, but just to give you a sense, you can start in ChatGPT, create some sort of visualizations, and then um, work with ChatGPT to create some sort of interactive dashboard and save it in a project in Replit. And then, if you have Excel files or CSV files that you're working with regularly, you can very easily just have a reproducible dashboard and, customize this to whatever you're looking for. All right, so that pretty much covers all I wanted to talk about today. I know it was very basic overall, but hopefully you learned something or found this somewhat interesting. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good day.